Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Rowell. Alright, I got a little bit of a road trip I got to take today. I've had a couple of antique clocks that have been in my collection for some time. One of them for a very, very long time, another one that I got when my father passed away. Well, they both need a little bit of work, and I've been looking around kind of desperately trying to find somebody locally who can do the repairs for me. There used to be a guy that a few years ago who had a really good, just a private clock shop that he ran out of his house, but apparently he's retired and that's not an option anymore. But I found something else in a community a little southwest of here called Lampasas. You may recall I've been there a couple times to vlog things. Well, we're going to take a trip over to Lampasas today and see if this guy can work on this clock for me. This is the clock in question, and it belonged to my grandparents, and it was in their house for many, many, many years. And when they passed away, I inherited it. And it's been with me for a long time, and it's been through its fair share of repairs. But at this point, I noticed that it doesn't chime right. And I'll show you what I kind of took a look inside, and I'll show you what I found. Alright, so this is inside the back of the clock here, and you got the clock mechanism up here, and down at the bottom you have these little metal rods here, which are the chimes, and then there's these little hammers that bang on them. Well, when I was looking at it, I noticed that this hammer on the outside doesn't have a chime on it, doesn't have one of the chimes underneath it. And I started looking around inside the clock, and apparently that piece broke off. So I want to go over to this guy, see if this guy can reattach this thing or replace this chime mechanism, because it's all just one metal piece here, and these all just attach to it, and then the hammers hit them. So hopefully he can just reinsert this one rod into it and make the thing work again. And so that's what we're going to go check out today in Lampasas and see if he can help me. Now, I took the chime block out myself to see if it was something I could fix, and the solution to my problem didn't seem really obvious. So, you know, I do a lot of stuff myself, but I also kind of know what my limits are, and I don't think I want to mess with this one. So we're going to seek a professional to do that. But I also have another clock, and I want to see if this guy can get this thing fixed and make this one work. This seems like this should be a fairly simple repair. Then we're going to have him maybe work on the other one. Let me show you what that one is. This is the other clock that I have here, and like I said, this one's going to be a little bit more complicated. This one isn't quite as old as the other one is, but it's a very beautiful, authentic, German-made cuckoo clock. And like I said, I've only had it for a very short time. I brought it back with me from California when I visited last April, and this belonged to my father, and it was in his office for many, many years. They traveled to Germany once, and I guess my parents each had an agreement with each other that they could each buy one thing, one really nice souvenir, and this was a souvenir my dad chose. And like I said, it's been operating in his office for years and years and years, ever since he got it. I remember, you know, whenever I'd go home and work on homework or something like that, this thing would be gonging or cuckooing at different parts of, you know, different times of the day. And it was just kind of a cool little thing. So I was really, really happy to get that when my father passed away. But when I got here and got it running, I noticed that there was a little problem. The clock mechanism itself works really well. I got to adjust the pendulum a little bit because it sometimes gains or loses time, but that's fairly easy to do. But there's a mechanical problem inside that doesn't make the cuckoo work right. So when it hits the top of the hour, say at 10 o'clock, and it's supposed to cuckoo 10 times, no, it'll cuckoo 60, 70, 80, 90 times. It'll cuckoo until all the little weights here on the outside are down on the ground. Because see, this is all mechanical. It's all these weights that make it happen. The one in the middle right now is the one that keeps the clock going. And right now I got the cuckoo turned off because there's a problem with the rest of it. That's why the other two weights on the outside aren't going down. But I would like to get this thing working again. But like I said, I'm not sure if this guy in Lampasas is going to be able to deal with it the same way. So I want to see how he deals with the first clock Because like I said, that should be an easier thing. Worst case scenario, he's going to order a part for me, get it repaired, and hopefully get us back in operation again. But once I see how he does with that, then we'll kind of maybe talk to him, see if he can do something about this too. Alright, so I got the clock turned in. I gotta say right off the bat, I like this guy. A lot of times with clocks, you know, you just get somebody, there's a problem with the clock, they'll go in and they'll replace the movement, they'll replace the whole thing. You know, it disappoints me because this was a family heirloom that's been with the family for I don't even know how long. It's been in my grandmother's house for years and years and years. And a number of years ago, it needed some work on it, and they just replaced the whole, in the entire innards of the clock. This guy doesn't do that. This guy will literally take it apart, find the part that's broken, fix the part, and then or replace that one little bitty part and get the whole thing going. And you know, he was talking while I was in there about, you know, his kind of old world craftsmanship, how they don't do that anymore. And you know, he also said one of the things that's probably going to take a year for him to do this. That's how much of a backlog he has, because there's just nobody in the area that does this kind of stuff anymore. He says there used to be 8 or 10 people in like Central Texas area. It's just him right now. So I'm actually really glad that I stumbled upon him. And if it takes a year to get this clock done, you know what? It's worth it. Just because I think this guy is going to do a good job. And that's the important thing here, because I want to keep this clock going as long as possible. Now, one of the things he's going to do is take it apart and lubricate it, so that's going to be some time too. Apparently the chime mechanism that broke off, he says, yeah, that's just kind of welded together in there, and when it breaks off, that's it. It breaks off, and you just got to replace it. But he says he's got the chime in place, so or in stock, so that should not be a problem. And that probably shouldn't take long to do, but it's probably going to be the oiling and lubricating that will take the time. So I will definitely catch up with you on this one a little later, but the clock is turned in. He also said he works on cuckoo clocks, so if he gets this one going, we're going to give him the cuckoo clock and let him work on that too. So I've driven by this place a bunch of times, and this time I decided, since I got a little time, I'm going to stop by and see it. I love all these little spinny things. You know, I got a bunch of these things in my yard. So, you know, driving by a place like this that has all this stuff outside, you can't help but notice. So yeah, just in case you're wondering, this place is called Rustlers Junction. Have all sorts of cool stuff out here, and a really kind of a cool store too. So there's all sorts of great stuff. I got a couple of fun things for the yard. Nothing that spins at this point, but something that'll just add a little color in the yard, since I can't seem to keep my plants alive. You know, sometimes you got to go with other things, but I'll show you that when I get home. But check out this place. This place is awesome. I've driven by this a bunch of times coming through Lampasas, and I've always meant to stop by, and I'm glad I did. All right, I'm back. We got the clock into the repair person, and hopefully he'll be able to hop on this really quickly. And like I said, I bought some kind of cool things at that little store, and I've already got them hung up here. I wanted to show you what these things are. I don't know, I just saw these things and I thought they were really cool. They really kind of popped. They had some just, you know, stunning colors on them and looked really cool. I got that one. I got this one. I like this little guy because he's got a little camera. Just like me. A little hint on what's going on here. And this one. Kind of cool looking, right? And this one here. And so, like I said, I just hung them on the back wall in the yard here. The person in the store recommends I might want to get like a clear coat for them to protect them over time, but I think they'll be fine for a short time here. And we may clear coat them at some point. They're not going to get an enormous amount of sun because they're under the tree here, but they still look cool in the yard. and definitely add to the color back here, you know, because it can be a little bland, especially in the winter when everything's kind of brown. But I don't know, I like them. I think they're kind of cool. I think they're good additions to the yard, and I think I'm happy that I got these things. So I think that is all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.